What is going on, guys? I'm cold as fuck.
That's pretty crispy.
I was hoping you'd be like, and I'm Euless.
Fuck, I didn't catch on.
Alright, what is going on, guys? My name's August,
And I'm Euless.
and welcome back to Ask Why Podcast.
All right.
You wanna?
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the placebo effect
Yes.
and getting a little background on the history like usual and understanding how we can use this concept and effect to our advantage a little bit.
Yeah. So to start things off, a placebo is pretty much anything that seems to be a real medical treatment. So it could be a sugar pill, it could be a shot, it could be even a fake surgery. It's any type of treatment that you believe should actually treat you, but the doctors know that it's not a real treatment.
Yeah. A fake example of that is when you scrape your knee and your mom kisses it and then it instantly feels better. That's not an actual medication, but that's the concept that it's not something that should actually have any impact, and it does make you feel better.
Yeah, that's the placebo effect. But it's important to have the distinction between placebo and placebo effect. A placebo is like the actual treatment itself, whether it be the pill or anything. And then the placebo effect is like that feeling of expecting it to work and then it actually working. And that can be applied to a lot of things, as you will come to see in this video.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about how this first became a thing.
Well, I wanted to.
So the first time that the placebo effect was actually seen in history was during World War II, when there was a limited amount of morphine, considering all the things that were happening. And so there was this army doctor named Henry Beecher who witnessed a nurse decide to give an injured soldier inject salt water. And he noticed that treatment still made the soldier feel better, and it mitigated the effects of morphine. So after the war, he went back to Harvard and found out that this concept could be applied to a lot more than just war veterans or soldiers. He realized that it could be applied even to the common cold.
Yeah, it was applied to more like daily things that was applied at like after the war.
Yeah, so this became kind of a revolutionary thing because placebos, as we know them now, are crucial to pretty much every FDA approval that's out there. So
when I read the story, I thought they needed to do surgery on him, and that's why they needed morphine, and then they injected him with salt water.
Yeah.
And then they were able to do the surgery in place.
Yeah,
Right?
it like did the effect of morphine with it being simply salt water.
That's
but
crazy.
The soldier
So the guy,
thought it was morphine.
the guy was shot, then injected with salt water, and then cut open while being fully conscious. Pretty much. Just with the effect of salt water. That's how powerful this effect can be.
Mm-hmm.
But what's important too is how much you believe into the concept. For this guy, I don't think he was aware that he was given salt water. He thought it was literally morphine.
Yeah, definitely.
So that, because he was just thinking that this is morphine and I will not feel pain after this, as soon as he was injected, not knowing it was salt water, then that impacted him. So it's important for him to believe that it was morphine, or else this whole thing wouldn't have worked pretty much. There's also other things that impact how much this effect works. Like research shows that a capsule works better than a tablet, and an injection works better than capsules, and then machines work even better than all that.
So yeah, it's like the more sophisticated the treatment is, the more it's effective because you believe in it more.
The more professional it looks and the more you believe in it. It's like most people, when you get like an x-ray machine or an actual big thing like that costs a lot of money to do, and you have a professional doctor with it, you're pretty much going to believe whatever they tell you. And if they give you a sugar pill that says this will heal you, it will actually have a bigger impact on you. When if you go to someone you don't believe and your friend just tells you take this and you don't believe that person, it won't.
Yeah. The cool thing too is like even the pill color has an effect, and it's been shown that blue pills are best for sleep. Yeah. Red pills are best for like stimulants or pain relief, and yellow pills are like best used as antidepressants. So that's like crazy. Just the color of the pill
and the packaging. Yeah,
because like you're used to, like, there's a lot of medication out there and everybody takes like Advil and stuff like that. So people are used to seeing colors and associating colors with that. So it's crazy to think that even just the color can have a major effect on your interpretation of it.
So it's interesting to find the difference between how much something is actually like physically changing you and how much is just you believing it that makes the change. Like, yeah, when you take Advil, it has whatever chemicals in it to take your headache away. But another part of it that this concept shows is that just you believing taking this Advil will go away does actually have an impact too. So, and sometimes even to a point where the brain releases natural pain-killing chemicals. So it's a big chemical change. It's not something random. That means taking a sugar pill can literally eliminate the pain. Like,
trigger like the release of dopamine,
yeah,
or a lot of different.
There's limits. Like if you cut off your arm and take a pill, it's not going to grow back just because you believe in it, obviously. But
there's another phenomenon in this, which is really crazy, is that patients who are secretly administered treatment for painkillers, typically.
What does that mean? What? Secretly administered. What does that
mean? It's like someone's in severe pain, and then they like administer like through an IV or something like a painkiller without telling them like, hey, we're giving you a painkiller right now.
Oh, okay.
And so the people who were secretly administered that painkiller ask for twice the dose compared to those who were injected by a nurse. Like,
and they were told they were being injected.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna give you morphine. Here's like, I don't know what the dosage is, but like,
that's funny. Yeah.
Here's X dose, and then everybody that was secretly administered was like, I need more. Like, give me 2X.
That's crazy. So just them not knowing they were giving morphine, they were like telling themselves they felt pain because they didn't think they had morphine.
So if a patient is unaware that they're receiving treatment, the treatment is only half as effective. The placebo effect is the other half.
Yeah.
Of belief and like actually knowing that you're
That's
getting
insane.
better right now.
The fact that it can have that much of an impact. Like I always knew this concept a little bit and how it would impact you, how much you believe in something always impacts you, but for it to be that much where your body can literally receive pain or block out pain just because of that expectation is
well, everybody, I mean, a lot of people have heard the Marshawn Lynch story of like the Skittles. Like he takes Skittles before every football match because it gives him superpowers. That's what his mom told him when he was like 6.
Yeah.
And every single game now he takes Skittles.
And I'm sure if one game he didn't have those Skittles, he'd feel like shit or not be able to perform the way he usually does just because he knows that, or for him, he tells himself that Skittles give him superpowers.
Let me make sure it's Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch. Skittles. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Yeah. It's crazy for the placebo to be like almost 50% in some cases to have that much impact. Like,
yeah.
And that makes me wonder how, for medication, for example, before a new drug is put out on the market, they have to do testing. So how are you able to tell, like, what is placebo and what's the drug actually doing? That's really hard.
They have that like test. They do the placebo test, which basically you have one group which is given a placebo and one group given the drug that's seeking FDA approval. And they test to see which group sees like
more
actual relief changes. Yeah. So if the placebo group does better than the medicine, then you know that the medicine is ineffective, or if it's somewhat the same, it's not effective. But if the medicine shows that the group is significantly more healed, then that's how they get an FDA approval.
More healed, or depending on what the drug does. It doesn't necessarily do it.
There's a lot of cases. But the crazy thing is, for every 10 FDA drug applications, only one of them gets accepted.
Yeah.
So it's very strict in terms of how good the drug has to be in order to be passed.
And I'm pretty sure that's been changing a lot throughout time. Like, the more recently, more drugs have been getting denied and don't pass the placebo test.
Yeah, there's drugs like Prozac that when they were released, I don't know how many years ago, but it was a pretty long time, where they were highly effective, but nowadays they have a lot of trouble passing the placebo test.
Yeah, they redid the same test, and the placebo was much higher than before.
So there is definitely like more people that know about the placebo effect, and like there's even studies where people are told that you're getting a placebo.
Yeah, and it still
has like, people are like, I don't care, and then they still feel some kind of relief. So like there's really like great lengths to which this goes to.
Yeah, now that we know that the placebo effect is dependent on your beliefs and what your expectations of a drug is going to do, I think the reason why this effect is getting stronger, for example, on medication getting passed, is in the US, every time you turn on the TV, there's so many ads that about so many new medication
Yeah.
that tells you like what it's supposed to do with all the side effects and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then it's
The
so
60 seconds of we are not liable for any back
yeah,
pain
where
or
they tell you all those ads super fast, but it makes it so much easier for reality to match those expectations because you're already told like everything the drug is supposed to do and not do. So when you take it, it's so much easier to just fill in the hole and just
yeah, everybody kind of knows like what certain medications do. Like everybody knows what Claritin does because you see all those ads. So like you
yeah.
can expect that if you just see Claritin on the shelf and you pick it up and you take one, you already know you expect to be like, oh, I expect to have congestion relief.
And I'm pretty sure that's special to the US. Like that's not, you can't advertise medication like that in other countries.
It depends on which, but it is not in every country. That's for
That
sure.
always shocks me. Like when I go back to France and I come back to the US, I turn on the TV and I'm just blasted with all these different medication, and
Yeah.
it makes me, it's weird because it makes me question like if I should have that medication. They're like, "Oh, were you did you have a cold this morning, or like were you feeling fuck, I was going to say constipated, but no." Yeah, every time I turn on the TV when I come back from the US, I get bombarded with all these different ads of medication, and it genuinely makes me question like, should I be taking this medication? Because they're bringing all these points like, oh, did you wake up this morning this way or like that? Or
Well, that's pretty much because the U.S. has like a is allowed to have private drug manufacturers.
yeah,
So
but
like
that's weird.
the companies that do treatments for I think it's diabetes. Like you have to insulin. Yeah, that's what it is. Insulin is hella
Mm-hmm.
monopolized and it's super expensive to get insulin now and it's not that expensive to make, but since it's a private company, they dictate the price. And so like they dictate that, and since
That's
medicine
so
is
weird.
now a business, that's why you see so many ads in the US because they need to sell more.
If you're diagnosed with cancer and your doctor comes in, just them listing all the negative side effects makes you more likely to have them. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the right balance is between, because you can't lie in a medical field and say like, oh, you're gonna feel better, you're not gonna feel any of this. Like you have to be honest and
I mean,
can't.
the real way that you get past it is like don't ever like watch an ad on TV about medicine and say like, "Oh, I need to get this right now." You should have a consultation from a doctor from any type of medication that you're
Yeah, but
taking.
even the doctor has an impact.
The ads always say that don't take this medication without seeking comfort or like seeking consultation with a doctor beforehand. Make sure this is right for you. Like you hear that in every single ad. So
Yeah.
like they're literally like they do the advertisement just because they need to sell more, and they put every single negative side effect to protect themselves from like having being sued, because they know that if they do that ad, people can just go buy over the counter medication of their brand and
Yeah.
shit can happen. So like it's the real balance would be like not letting them do ads and letting the doctor tell
Yeah,
you like this is what you need.
I think maybe ads is part of the problems too, because you have to be putting all the negative side effects, but doctors should be saying whatever negative side effects they have to. But while I don't know how they do it, but
Yeah.
it shows that it has an impact. And if you just highlight all the negative parts, you will focus on that and your body will follow. Like,
Yeah.
but if your doctor introduces cancer as something that like you will beat, your this concept shows that you're more likely to beat it.
Yeah.
It depends as a group, but a lot of times I find myself, if I tell myself something's going to affect me positively, it will. And if I tell myself something is going to have a negative impact on me, then it will.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it can be as simple as telling yourself, like when you drink coffee in the morning, that this will give you energy and motivation for the day. Like I found myself accidentally drinking caffeine free coffee and still having the same impact on me just because I told myself this is going to get me wired. It did when it had no caffeine in it. So that's an example of placebo right there, kind of.
The
It's not a
placebo
medication.
effect.
Placebo effect. Coffee is not placebo because it's not medication, even though caffeine I think can be a medication. But that's it's crazy. And
Yeah.
knowing this concept, I feel like it can be dangerous in a way. Like you tell yourself, you make a negative connection like, oh, sunlight is going to hurt me. And every time you step outside, you look at the sun, you're like, this is having a bad impact on me, then it might. And if you make bad connections like that, it's dangerous. But
I think you're right to an extent. Like we're also very self-aware as humans, so like it's hard to convince yourself that apple juice is gonna solve your problems.
yeah, that's
But
why if it was so simple,
yeah,
everyone would be doing that. But we are also like, we can lie to ourselves a little bit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it works.
Know that it can be effective if you
Hmm.
really need to push yourself, but it's like subtle examples that really are the magic of the placebo effect. Like the little things that anyone can believe because they're just that little.
Yeah,
Like
and
it
it's
doesn't necessarily need to be a drastic thing. Like I'm gonna take a right step and then everything's gonna go right. Like
well, yeah, that's not the placebo because it's not medication.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like the placebo effect is the believing part. So that's what I meant.
yeah. What do you know about healing crystals?
I don't know shit about healing crystals.
Okay. Well, I think this applied to the placebo concept a little bit because I was just introduced to what like crystals and those rocks are, and I never believed in them. But now the more I read something like the placebo effect, just believing like holding this rock will make you happier tomorrow or more self-aware. Just that belief has an impact on you. So
Yeah,
in this case, they're taking out the medication part and using a rock or crystal whatsoever, but like whatever floats your boat, like whatever you believe works.
yeah, faith.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways we can use this concept however you want that it can impact you in a way. For example, if you can convince yourself that drinking a glass of apple juice impacts you, then good for you. But most of us are aware, and this concept is all about your expectations. So we all know that drinking a glass of apple juice won't actually have an impact on you.
But
But
everybody has their own apple juice.
yeah,
Yeah, like some people have
convince
crystals, some
yourself.
people have dream catchers, some people have
Yeah,
yeah.
like convince yourself of whatever works for you, and then stick to it because it does have an impact on you. So,
Find little ways to like trick yourself
hmm,
almost.
and also be careful of things that you create a negative connection with because it will have a negative impact on you if you.
Yeah, your state of mind affects your
Mhm.
outcomes more than you think. Maybe not fully, but like there's a correlation.
So use this concept wisely. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's cool to know that that we're like so liable to all these little mind tricks.
It's so cool to know that we're so gullible to lie to
Yeah,
ourselves
yeah,
and
exactly to
follow
ourselves.
through with it. Yo, take this sugar pill, we'll heal you. And it actually works. Wow, you're so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. Hope you guys episode. And yeah, we'll see you guys next. All right, so I guess that pretty much wraps everything up. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're watching the audio version and you want to see our beautiful faces, hop over on YouTube. If you're watching the YouTube version and you want to see if you see our ugly ass faces, we're not liable to any temporary blindness. And there's also the audio version for you if you prefer that.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode and drop us suggestions of topics you want us to talk about.
And we will see you guys next week.
My camera just overheated. Look at that timing. See you guys next week. Peace.